Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through 3 important traps that you need to make sure you avoid when it comes to working on your marriage, and in particular when it comes to male psychology, if you're the one that's actually putting in the work in your marriage. And when you're having to deal with some really difficult times in your marriage and you're the one having to put the work in, I know how emotionally taxing and draining that is. I also know that it's really hard to get up every single morning and find the courage and the strength to be able to work on your marriage when you're having to deal with infidelity and other challenges when it comes to marriages. So if you're working on your marriage and you're finding it really challenging and just not sure what steps to take, then I want you to know you're not alone, and I want you to also know that I'm here to help you as well. So if you are really struggling, then what I'd encourage you to do is just in the description section below, there's a link which just says book a call with me. Feel free to click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then we can just have a chat just to understand where you are now, where you want to get to, and how we can kind of bridge that gap a little bit just to be able to get you the results that you're really looking for in your marriage. And make sure you hit the subscribe button below so every week you get access to my latest videos, teach you specifics about how to improve your marriage, how to grow and heal you, and how to really learn more about male psychology as well, because I know that can often be a real sticky point for a lot of women who are going through challenges in their marriage. Now, when it comes to working on your marriage, it can be really confusing. When I think about a lot of my clients, in the initial stages, they're lacking any sort of clarity because their emotions are so high and they're in survival mode. And when you're in that place, it's so difficult to have any sense of clarity to sort of know what steps you need to take. Should I give him space? Should I actually push a little bit harder? Do I need to make sure that I'm around him all the time? Because often people can feel like, if they're not actually working on their marriage, or if they're not putting in the time, or they're not actually spending the quality time with him, then he's going to slowly back off, and then that can create a whole bunch of fears as well. So there's a lot of uncertainty around him. But one of the things I notice when it comes to my clients is that every time they tend to work on their marriage, there's a few really important traps that, if you're not aware of, can be really easy to fall into. And they're due to the reaction of the male mind in those moments. And that's something that we have to be really mindful of. So in today's video, I'm going to talk you through 3 traps that a lot of women have to deal with, and what you can do to make sure you avoid those at all costs and be prepared for those when you're working on your marriage. Now, the first trap is to beware the non-believer. So what often happens is, if your husband says he wants out and he wants to get out of the marriage, or he wants to separate, get a divorce, whatever, and then you start working on the things that, he makes complaints about and says that, you never did this or you never did that, and you start working on those things, then what happens is, in the initial stages of it, he's a non-believer. See, what will happen is he'll initially think, oh, look, she's just doing this because, I've made these comments, or because I've said that I wanted to separate, or I wanted a divorce, or whatever. She's not actually serious about it. She's just doing it because, I said all of those things. And so what often happens is, early on in the piece, there is a huge amount of resistance. There's a huge amount of resistance because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe those changes are going to be sustainable over a long period of time. Because he may have spent time with you for 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And because he thinks that you're not capable of those things, when you start making those shifts, basically he's just going to be in a state of, look, I just don't believe it. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. So I want you to make sure that no matter what, you continue to make those shifts and make those changes. Now, the key point, and I always make this point in my videos, you're not doing it to just please him. You're doing it for your own growth and your development. Now, if the things that he wants you to work on are things that are for your highest good and for your own development, fantastic. If it's not things that, are necessarily good for you, or, he suddenly wants you to become really subservient and just serve to his every need, then that may not necessarily be the best thing for you. So it's actually about you becoming the best version of yourself. No matter what, the work that you're putting in is for you and your development, and the byproduct of it is that it impacts your husband. And that's the first thing I want to say, because we have to heal ourselves first. We've got to grow. And so the key thing here is that when you're making these shifts, that you're doing it for you, but be prepared for the non-believer in him. There is a good chance he's probably going to sit there and go, nah, she's just doing it because, I told her that I wanted these changes, not because she actually wants to, or that they're actually going to be sustainable in any sort of way. It's just when we get back together, it'll be exactly the same. I've seen it time and time again, same thing's going to happen. So be prepared for that. Now, the second trap you want to be aware of and be prepared for is complete resistance when it comes to your behavior. Now, you got to remember that when a guy has got to a place where he wants a separation or he wants a divorce, he would have been playing this in his mind for a long time. He'd been thinking about it. He'd be aware of it for a long time. He'd be trying to justify it as much as he can. He'd be trying to look at the logic behind it. He'd be thinking about the impact when it came to finances and kids and the whole family and all of that sort of stuff. He'd be thinking about those things for a long time. Then he's kind of got to a place where he's made this decision, and suddenly, you're wanting to make it work and really fight for the marriage, which I honor. I think it's a beautiful thing that you're wanting to work on that. But because he's gotten himself into that mindset where, yep, this is the decision that I'm making, as soon as the wife makes an effort to try and work on it and trying to heal some of those challenges that were being brought into the marriage, what's going to happen is that's messing with his conviction in his mind. See, he's convinced that I've got to do this. But then suddenly you might be working on some of the things and maybe actually applying some really beautiful shifts as well. And immediately he's going, uh-oh, this has kind of messed with me. And so what happens is he often pushes harder and starts going, stop it. Nothing you do will make this work. I am finished. I am done. Now, I know that that's a really hard thing to do, and I know it can often make you feel really defeated because you're putting all this beautiful work in and he's just resisting and resisting. And my heart goes out to you because I know how painful it is. I see it all the time. But I really want you to remember, and once again, the first thing is you're doing the work for you. Second thing, you've got to stay patient here. Now, in this scenario, I often try and compare it to when you're working in some sort of a job and you've been undervalued, you haven't been getting the rewards that you want or feeling valued in the way that you want. And then what happens is you then go and start applying for other jobs and you get given another job somewhere else. And then you tell your current employer, and then they do everything they can to try and keep you. And they give you pay rises, they try and offer you jobs which you'd been wanting a lot for a long time and you never got, but now you get it, and so on. And what happens? There's resistance. There's a part of you that goes, well, where the hell was this all along? And like I say, this is not about, stating any sort of criticism towards you in terms of your marriage and, how you approach it or anything like that, because I can tell you now that the man has definitely contributed to the demise of the marriage as well. But I want you to just more or less understand the mindset and the psychology that he'll be in. Once again, in his eyes, whether it's right or wrong, in his eyes, he may not be feeling valued, or he may have felt things that were missing in the marriage. Now suddenly, there's work being done on it, and he's going, well, what the hell? Where was this all along? So he's going to be resistant because he's convinced himself in his mind that that's the decision to make. So be prepared for that, but also stay patient, which then leads me to the third trap you need to be aware of, and that is be prepared for long-term transformation with him. Now, I cannot tell you how many times I work with people and, after 30 or 60 days, things are maybe starting to progress a little bit, but it's not until maybe 9 months or 12 months or whatever where the husband actually comes back. Because what's happened is over time, he started to understand and realize that, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That maybe what I had, I didn't necessarily value as much. And also, wow, look at some of the shifts that she's actually making. This is incredible. And I want to be a part of that. So what you have to be mindful of is that when you're putting in the work, when you're actually really focusing on your own growth and your own development, and also on the marriage as well, that it can take time and you've got to stay patient. I know that's hard because, it all feels so urgent. You might be going through potential divorce. There might have been papers filed and so on. I get it. I really get it. But you've got to stay patient on this journey, because when you stay patient and you allow yourself to keep putting in those small incremental steps on a daily basis, then you might just be a little bit surprised at what magic unfolds over the coming months as well. So it's really, really important that you put the work in and really show up on a daily basis and stay patient. You have to stay patient. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. As much as it may feel like a sprint at the start, you've got to play the long game because that's where the real shifts occur. So I know that, when you're in a place and you're fearful and you're anxious and you're scared, we lose complete clarity and we're not sure what we need to do. And so for that reason, I want you to know that I am here to serve you. I'm here to support you on this journey. And, if you are needing some guidance and you are needing some support, then I'd encourage you to, in the description section below, just click on the link where it says book a call with me. On the call, I can learn a little bit more about where you are now, where you want to get to, and how we can bridge that gap, and whether my program, the Authentic Relationship System, can be a good fit for you. It's an amazing program where we really go deep into how to heal you, how to create shifts within your marriage, how to really learn about male psychology as well, and really help to understand 3 of those parts and really create those shifts there. You might just be pretty amazed at the sort of remarkable transformations that can occur. Like my clients, Angie and Laurie and Sarah and Michelle, and all these beautiful women who have created such remarkable transformations in both their marriage and their life as well. So if it does feel like a good fit for you, then all you need to do once again is click on that link below, choose the time that works for you, and I'll contact you at the scheduled time. I can't wait to be of service to you. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And also let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. Just in the comment section below, just write down any questions or comments. I always love hearing from you amazing souls who watch this video as well. So thank you so much for that. And if you want to learn why men regret losing a good woman, click this video above. And if you want to learn how to give them space in a classy way, just click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.